It's me. I'm doing a part two as I'm so incredibly fascinated by our amazing body. How chronic stress impacts the whole you, including your ability to metabolize fat. This is why we need to look at the whole picture, zoom out so we can zoom in and collect the missing pieces of your health puzzle so you can thrive as you age and not struggle. So, I'm really on a mission to help you be a health optimizer. Take ownership of your health today, age 40 something. You got to start taking care of your future self now. So don't wait. Do not wait until you're struggling and having obviously chronic health issues. We can prevent this by knowing in advance what are those red flags, paying attention. Aura Ring, Whoop, Apple Watch. You have all this information you're collecting that's not 100% accurate, but it gives you insight to when things are off, when we have some red flags going on. Which is funny because I'm in North San Diego and we're having all these red flags warning right now because it's 81 degrees and it's in January and there's Santa Ana winds on and off. And so we have red flag warning this week. Funny, I just thought of that. What is red flag warning? It means be on high alert, pay attention to those red flags, be on guard that something might happen. We might have a fire, and I just saw one earlier today in Rancho Bernardo. It was contained yesterday, West Lilac up near Bonzel, where we go bike riding. It was contained, but we have to pay attention, be on alert, because if something happens, we need to evacuate and take what you need, our bike, our PNOE metabolism kit, my computers, grab some clothes and head out. Now, I'm not laughing because I have a lot of friends in my family in Pacific Palisades, relatives that lost everything in the fires in Pacific Palisades, and friends that have their family in Pasadena. Point is, there are red flag warnings. Your lights on the car tells you when things are about to break down. Red flag warning. I need new brakes. My oil is low. I need gasoline. We have these red flags that our body tells us, our innate intelligence, but we are such high performers and push past that and don't pay attention to those red flags our own body is telling us. If we have a fire and we need to be careful, we're not putting more gasoline on the fire. It's not going to get taken out or put down and solve the problem if you keep putting gasoline on your fire. What does this even mean? What am I babbling about again? Well, I am seeing as a health investigator, a metabolism testing equipment that I use with clients, correlate that data we get from the metabolism test with their functional lab test, with nutritional therapy assessment, with their exercise. I look at it all, put it all together, which leads me down really mind boggling of how amazing the body is and how chronic stress impacts your ability to improve your fat metabolism, metabolic flexibility, and oxidative stress, insulin sensitivity can be altered too. So, continuing down this rabbit hole, I have so many blogs that I admit they're not me writing, it's me putting notes from everything rabbit holes I look at and put them in here. So when we're doing metabolism testing, we can identify, do you have lack of recovery? Do you have poor nutrition habits? Actually, I see more people with poor eating habits and they're eating in fight or flight. Lack of physical activity. Well, most of my clients are doing too much exercise or the wrong type of exercise. Does that relate to impaired microbiome? Do you have a lot of injuries, inflammation in your body? Do you have stress, anxiety, depression? Do you have trouble with obesity? So we want to look at the whole picture. So my goal as a practitioner, health investigator, and a coach is be that all-in-one to help guide you to be the best self in your future. So this blog, I have these things every day that people ask me a question. It makes me go, what does that mean? And then I have these ahas. It all comes down to the vagus nerve and mitochondria health. So this one, I'm talking about how to improve your fat metabolism. Someone asked me about a supplement drink mix that they're taking to improve AMPK pathway. And we've talked over the years, you've heard when fasting got to be really trendy, popular AMPK pathway and mTOR. We want to shut down mTOR and turn on AMPK. Everything is a Goldilocks effect. I'm not an expert in anything. I just am curious. Now, I think I got to move. I sit on the floor and stretch here. So AMPK pathway, is it bad or good? mTOR is not bad or good. It's a balance of the two is how I interpret it as. If we need more support, AMPK pathway, how do we identify that? Well, PNOE did a video webinar on their YouTube channel with the company talking about ingredients to improve your AMPK. So I dove down this rabbit hole. When we do PNOE testing, we're looking at your resting metabolic rate, your fat carb utilization, I don't like aerobic versus anaerobic, it's your fuel switches at various intensities. Your respiratory exchange ratio reflects your metabolic flexibility and your fuel source use. So if I hop over to a platform without showing anyone's name, you'll see someone with their poor fat burning. They're burning lots of fat and their heart rate is down at 112 was their peak fat burning, and 112, 114. And then the carbohydrate increased way down here at 114 heart rate. That is a, let's say, area of opportunity for this individual to improve their fat metabolism. Well, what does that mean? How does that work? Do we need to improve that by nutrition, exercise, or maybe it's more stress? Maybe it's identifying those internal sources of chronic stress I talked about that are chronic inflammation that we can look at genetics, we can look at functional lab testing and put this all together as my labs here. I talked about insulin resistance and how important we want to keep that insulin level in check. Again, insulin is a hormone made by the pancreas responsible for transporting glucose from your bloodstream into your cells, ideally your muscle cells. When we have insulin resistance, that is the reduced effectiveness of insulin at transporting glucose, and cells become resistant to it. They're knocking on the door, no one's answering. Many theories at Wild Health, the program I did, their fellowship last year, I talked about this in a previous video, the suitcase theory. If your cells are full of glucose, it becomes harder to fit glucose in them, and insulin does not work at all. Thus, the treatment for reducing glucose as consumption of glucose, if insulin resistance goes unchecked, it will lead to prediabetes and often type 2 diabetes. Solutions to fix insulin resistance, listen to Dr. Ben Bickman and his Insulin IQ program, but diet, low carb, fasting, exercise the right amount, increase glucose utilization as interval sprint training and your strength training, sleep, and hormone optimization to improve insulin effectiveness. What labs do we run? Glucose, your insulin, HOMA-IR, ferritin, triglycerides to HDL ratio, and they also look at A1C. Then look at genetics. This is my report, my genetics. I have all the FTO genes, so I'm more intolerant to carbohydrates. I'm more prone to obesity with these markers. P, PAR, gamma. You'll hear a lot about P. I have 1 and 2, and then, so that's good. And then my other one, ACE, I didn't have that one measured. So we want to look at these markers, look at insulin resistance score, and really track your A1C. And if you have moderate insulin resistance in my lab markers and correlating that with my genetics, and then looking at PNOE metabolism testing, looking at your carbohydrate intake and more strategic carb timing for my athletes, fasting 12 hours overnight, time restricted eating, you're eating in a 12-hour window. Some people are exercising less. We need to do more fasting when appropriate. Magnesium, continuous glucose monitor, keeping glucose around average, they say 115, we say 70 to 90. I make sure maybe you need some, I don't like metformin as much as I really like that glucovantage berberine that Sean Wells talks about. So anyways, inflammation, I went over in the other video, is really important to look at if that's causing your body to be more stressed. Chronic inflammation leads to chronic stress, leads to insulin resistance via increase in cortisol and glucose, and then insulin resistance. So point is, metabolism, people are poor at fat metabolism. We need to improve this. But maybe just by exercising, as I said in previous video, keeping this person doing their exercises at low heart rate. So just going for walking, help improve their metabolism. And then we can talk about chronic inflammation, how it causes weight gain. And then I did an article on how to improve fat burn efficiency and what does that look like. So we want to measure that with the PNOE testing. But if someone has poor fat metabolism, their zone 1 is really low, maybe that person needs to improve their AMPK cellular energy sensor activated in low energy states as fasting. So we've talked about stimulating pathways for fatty acid oxidation. So we want to improve fat oxidation, improve glucose uptake, GLUT4 translocation into the cells and the muscle cells to help enhance glucose uptake. And that's getting that suitcase, those muscles stronger. Mitochondrial biogenesis. We want to support improved metabolic efficiency and endurance by getting more mitochondria by training in zone 2. What is zone 2? It might be, say, 90 to 100, like some people have tested. We need to start low end and improve it. We want to work on interval training when appropriate, 10 to 20, 30 seconds, prove mitochondria that way as well. So we want to test and figure out what's best for you. Now, if you're poor at fat metabolism and maybe you need some support with activating AMPK, as this product will go into, this is different. My point is, I'll get to, AMPK activation is sometimes beneficial if you're poor at oxidizing fat, as detected when we do metabolism testing. But if your metabolism test, when I do the resting test, shows your metabolism is slow, we want to do more mTOR stimulation. We want more protein and we want more strength training. So we need to look at an individual case by case and not say, hey, everyone needs to do it this way, because you may not have a problem burning fat at low levels, as my test I showed in the previous video, that the person was excellent at burning fat up until like 153 heart rate was his metabolic crossover point. Other people, we need to work on their mitochondria health. We need to make sure that their markers, their lipids, their inflammation markers are not elevated. So if we have common sources of leaky gut, overtraining, inflammatory diet, alcohol, poor sleep, insulin resistance, we need to look at all these markers and correlate that with their functional lab testing, their blood chemistry panel, and look at that. So when we're doing PNOE testing, this is an exercise test. We're looking at your fat to carb burn, the RER, respiratory exchange ratio, how much fat they're burning, calories, their volume of oxygen in. So it's not just a VO2 max test. I like to do a peak fat max, see where someone should train, how well is their fat metabolism. All right, so when we're going into, hey, that person needs to improve their fat metabolism. Their zone 2 is really low, and I'd love to see it improve and metabolic efficiency point move to the right, as Bob Siebehor talks about in his book. Now, how do we do that? It depends on the person. We need to look at their chronic stress. Do they have stress, overactive stress response system? Externally and internally chronic stressors, we cannot know unless we test. So running functional lab testing can reveal many sources of internal stress that are impacting your hormones, immune system, liver detoxification, your digestive systems will be impacted, your energy system, mitochondria, your nervous system, the gut-brain connection. We need to look at the whole picture of what's going on under the hood, as well as your life stressors. Now, nutrition, we know, yes, lower carb, fasting, ketogenic, carnivore, time-restrictive eating can help activate this AMPK. When we're talking about exercising, we want to improve your metabolic flexibility, burning fat at rest during the test, and then when you're exercising, improving that metabolic efficiency point. With nutrition, to improve this AMPK pathway, improve your mitochondria health is what I like to look at. So how do we do this? Improve fat oxidation, mitochondria health. Maybe we need to support the AMPK activation. AMPK activation improves mitochondria function, aligning better with markers that we test in PNOE. Now, understanding metabolic stress and inefficiencies is really important to allow for better recovery, reduce those sources of chronic, remember the word chronic is not good, chronic inflammation, preserving AMPK regulatory role in metabolism. So we want to test with PNOE, but look at all these markers to lead to metabolic health, better endurance, better fat burning efficiency. So how is this connected? There's a product that I was told about, this Aviar Trim, claims to activate AMPK. So I'm going to do a metabolism test on someone and challenge this if this is improving their fat metabolism, because I did a test on them previously and they didn't do much low heart rate training. They did intervals or they did strength training. Their fat metabolism was really low, but they don't have a weight problem. But what if your insulin's high or your reactive or CRP's high? So we need to look at, remember, all these blood markers. So I shared a previous video. This is my lab test. I put it in our FDN lab ranges. I look at, there's my free T4 is 120, 1.21. I want it between 1.4 and 1.8. My total T3, my T3, I had up 25, went 28 to 38%. So we're looking at the free T3, free T4, thyroid, and we're looking at these inflammatory markers. We're looking at any signs of infections. I have a lot of signs. My eosinophils and monocytes keep being high. So I need to do a stool test, an organic acids test, and probably a food sensitivity test to know, okay, do I have some allergy sensitivities that I need to be aware of, as this one is continuously high over the last year, 6, 9, and 7% when I want it 0 to 3. So we need to collect all the data to see where you are needing to be and looking at your lipids. My cholesterol tends to run higher, and I think that's more because correlation to low thyroid and to some type of chronic bacteria infection, maybe parasite. My insulin's good, my fat digestion's good. So we need to look at what are some clues and put this together. So when I'm doing the metabolism testing on you, do we need this supplement for you? What I suggest is not taking all these different supplements you read about online. Figure out what you need based on this health investigation. How nutrients and extracts support AMPK? Well, certain nutrients and botanical extracts have been shown to activate AMPK. So what I was looking at, mimic energy deprived states, and you don't have to fast to get them. They're saying have some berberine, and we've heard tons of research on that. Helps improve glucose metabolism, helps enhance fat burning. Resveratrol, that helps support AMPK activation and mitochondrial health. Green tea, EGCG, is found in green tea, stimulates AMPK and promotes fat oxidation. And then curcumin, we know for curcumin for anti-inflammatory, but the curcumin supports AMPK pathway as well. So we can mimic, they say, the physiological benefits of fasting, of exercise, calorie deficits, making them more valuable tools to enhance your metabolic health. Now, how is PNOE related to this? As they did a webinar together, we want to identify, test, and not guess. Do we have some inefficiency? What are your areas of opportunity? If we have some inefficiency with fat oxidation, they're suggesting taking this supplement. Again, it's supplementing, and you cannot out supplement poor lifestyle habits, is my point. If you're not prioritizing a sleep hygiene routine, going over your evening and your morning routine to optimize sleep, and if you're not managing the stress in your life and identifying hidden sources of chronic stress internally, this might not help you. So be aware of that. Now, fat oxidation energy, AMPK, talks about helping shift metabolism to fat burning. So if we see that, PNOE insights can help confirm if this AMPK targeted interventions as supplementation can improve fat oxidation. So if I gave this person supplement, maybe we do it beforehand, or they're taking it for 30 days and then I retest them, is that going to change this data? PNOE testing can access oxygen consumption. So we're measuring your breath and carbon dioxide and mitochondria efficiency, which are enhanced by AMPK activation. And so perhaps we can identify with testing and not guessing a PNOE metabolism test every couple months, and then they're supplementing, following a protocol that's based on what they need, not just everyone's suggestions that you're collecting and stuck in your own cycle, trial and error. Really look at what you need to do. Do you need improving mitochondrial biogenesis? Probably we're getting older and this is common. How is your metabolic health? Do we need to help in reducing metabolic dysfunction? So PNOE testing, metabolism testing, can detect age-related declines in metabolic rate, flexibility, often reduced to lower AMPK pathway. So if a supplement claims to counteract this decline, complementing the insights provided by testing, well, yes, but again, I believe 100% that we need to work on our lifestyle habits, sleep, stress, even first. And maybe you need supplements to support your sleep cycle, but it's not just take this for that. We need to look at the whole person and work on you in it as an individual, not one size fits all. So yes, you may supplement with this. It could enhance this activation to improve fat burning, boost your energy. But if we have a chronic infection, if you have food sensitivity, you're having wheat and it's an allergen for you or reactive to setting off your immune system, causing chronic inflammation, leaky gut, you have endotoxins, high LPS levels, we need to address that first. So metabolic testing will help provide insights to how we can improve your metabolic health, identifying areas of opportunity through your exercise personalized program and nutrition plan, as well as the lifestyle. So we can use Lumen day to day to measure your fat metabolism. We want to focus on the strength training, getting that in 2 to 4 times a week, hitting your protein each day, each meal, getting that 40, 50 grams, and supplementing with perfect aminos or Keon aminos when you're not able to hit that protein goal, which to me is every day I need supplement morning and night. Optimizing nutrition, moving more throughout the day. So don't just think cardio and then sit on your ass like I'm sitting right now. We need to get up and move. So I was jumping on my rebounder. I need to get up and move after this video. Optimize nutrition, improve metabolic flexibility. So I'll put it all into the show notes, but really focus on cold, hot. Those help the heat shock proteins, mitochondria health, brown fat stimulated with the cold exposure, and then supplementing where need to be. I do like the berberine, as said. Sean Wells told me this berberine glucovantage is on my full script. So let me know if you need my link to full script. You'll get a discount and functional grade supplements instead of buying stuff that's on Amazon or the grocery store. So address underlying issues. Main point here, right here. Thyroid function. I just showed you my thyroid is so low. So that's why I'm struggling losing fat weight, because I need thyroid support. I need to address hormone imbalances. Estrogen, cortisol might be up, insulin. That's going to impact your ability to burn fat. You'll store fat if insulin's up. Gut health, supporting the microbiome, looking at this Dr. William Davis's super gut product I make with 38-hour fermentation of the probiotic L-reuteri. Increase fiber. Well, I do inulin in that. I'm not big on fibrous foods. I do think you need to do prebiotic support with your nutrition, support the probiotics using fermented foods or that yogurt I said. So AMPK is important for fat burning, but so is improving your metabolism with the strength and protein intake. Sprint training, mitochondrial health, chronic stress need that. So what are the ingredients? I was looking up berberine, resveratrol, quercetin, curcumin, ginseng. These all can help fat metabolism. I always look at products and look at what are their other ingredients, what helps for the Krebs cycle, which is energy, ATP production, what supports mitochondria, and what's the delivery system? How am I getting it into my cells? Is it really breaking down my body, or is it just another supplement that's being wasted and I'm peeing it out? Am I getting this ingredient into the cell? And that's where I'm really intrigued by Beam Minerals, taking those in every day. So I'm getting everything I need in and out of my cells. And then looking at, all right, are these AMPK pathways improving? Is my mitochondrial health improving? I'm really looking at the data. So I always also look at supplements when people ask me to investigate. All right, what are the other ingredients in here? What's the delivery system, as I said? So you have to look. And then what are the sweeteners? Now this says stevia leaf. I put down in this blog post, whoops, look at the bottom. So I was going through each ingredient. What do we need for Krebs cycle? What do I need for my mitochondria? So if you go down to the bottom of this long research, I was starting going to NAD. Isn't that needed for metabolism, AMPK? NAD is a coenzyme living in all living cells. We need NAD production, and that helps precursors. So is it necessary to do, what supplement? I'm not going to take 50 things. I'm not going to be like that guy everyone keeps talking to me about that's spending millions on longevity hacking, but True Niagen improves NAD levels. So is that the best way to support mitochondria, or do we need True Niagen and this other product and working everything else? So what is best to do to improve mitochondria health? Do we need AMPK, NAD, and mitochondria health? This is a question we need to work on individual level. Testing and not guessing. But I was getting to the stevia leaf. So if you look at the ingredients back there, what is something I've learned is what stevia. So stevia, Sean Wells taught me this. Rebaudicide. This is stevia extract. Now, most products I'm finding are not using this. This one doesn't give me a headache. Whole leaf stevia, there's organic stevia powder, stevia in the raw, but there's other products I think people are blending stevia. It's not 100%. So more commercially available stevia products have sugar alcohols. So pay attention to the ingredients on the label. What is their source of stevia? So stevia rebaudiana plant, and its active compounds, stevioside and blah, 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 blah. So pay attention. All right. So lastly, check out if you want to know how to improve your program. I have lots of notes. Struggling, improving your peak fat max. We want to check out your cortisol, check out your nervous system, work on your vagal nerve, mitochondria, look at your inflammation. So we need to figure out what you need to do. Get rid of that inflammation, chronic low-grade inflammation. What is that coming from? Lots of articles, but it's more point is test and not guess, and get a personalized program so you're not just wasting months that become years trying to figure out what's best for you today. So recreating your current self today, so your best self in the future, so you're thriving as you age and not struggling, and paying attention to those red flags. Use your intuition, check in with yourself, know your body. There's innate intelligence. Those red flag warnings that there's a fire coming, pay attention to those beforehand and be ready to make those changes. Let me know if you have questions, debbiepotts.net for all those links, blogs, and ask me any questions.